Cash or Trash for Dell Sports Network. Joined as always, Dave.
Yes, sir.
Derek.
Hey.
And we have our guest in studio. We're going to call this a studio. I don't care if it's a empty room, but
Studio in the making.
yeah, it's a studio in progress. So eventually we're going to be on camera. That's the plan. And right now the room is not in the shape to put on camera. So for now, audio only, camera coming soon. All right, this is our favorite segment. Hopefully it's yours too. Cash or Trash. And Bran, I don't know if you listened to the first one, but any question, when we answer the question, you're going to answer with cash or trash and then give us your reasoning. Derek, we're going to start with you for this one. Derek Carr will be the Saints quarterback in 2024.
Cash. Derek Carr and Matthew Stafford actually have similar stats when Carr was on the Raiders and Stafford was on the Lions. So I got a little bit of hope that he's going to have the same path where he gets to a Super Bowl, hopefully. I got faith in Derek Carr. Cash.
Yeah, that's cash. He's still getting paid through 2024. He no trade clause contract. Yeah, he's going to be there. The following year, probably not, but next year, that's cash.
I'm going to go ahead and agree. I'm going to say cash. But if I was the Saints general manager, I wouldn't. I would not. Only because they're just going to continue to be a mid to low team. They're just not going to do any. If they do make the playoffs, they're going to be a first-round exit. So if they're fine with being a playoff contender and a first-round exit with Derek Carr, then you can keep him. But if you want to go for a Super Bowl, Derek Carr cannot be your quarterback in the Super Bowl. He just can't lead the Saints team to that.
So what do you want, Zach Wilson over there?
I think it's close. The Zach Wilson has a lot higher ceiling. Zach Wilson has a higher ceiling than Derek Carr does. I truly think that if they want to be mid, they can stay with Derek Carr. But if they want to go to a Super Bowl, they can trade maybe for Justin Fields. Or they can try to figure out how to get that number one pick out of Bears. Because I know Carolina isn't going to win a game the rest of the season. So they're going to get the number one pick. So I think they should get rid of him, but they're probably not. They're going to stay with Derek Carr.
Doesn't Carolina's pick go to Chicago?
That's what I said, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, they can either trade for Justin Fields from the Bears, or if the Bears wind up staying with Justin Fields and want to trade that number one pick, they can do that. So, and so there's going to be a quarterback coming out of Chicago either way, whether it's the Justin Fields or their number one pick. So,
Are you saying Justin Fields over Derek Carr?
I'm saying Justin Fields over Derek Carr.
Okay. I'm going to say cash that he will be. Should he be is probably would have been a more divisive question than will he be. But should he be, I would say yes, because having a different offensive coordinator every single year does have an effect on a quarterback. Even though you see these weapons that he has and it's not exactly panning out. All that being said, even though it's a bad division, they're still in the hunt to win the division and get a home playoff game. They just got to beat Tampa this week and win. Who's their week 18? Oh, okay. Well, yep. So if they win this week, they have a sleeper against the Falcons at home January 7th. So, yeah, give me cash for me. Should he be cash as well? All right, this one should be fun. Cedarian Deleon Lamb, that's what the CD stands for, fucking asshole, is the best receiver in the NFL.
I'm going to say trash, but there's potential that he could be someday. There's potential. He's got to be top 5. You guys are going to say top 20, but he's up there. Trash. It's got to be Tyreek Hill. It's got to be.
I'm going to say trash. Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, definitely above him, but stats don't lie. I mean, he's right up there in everything. And, yeah, I'm going to say probably Tyreek Hill is the best. I'm going to give him top 5. I'm going to say he's probably 5. But Hill and Jefferson above him, Chase. I mean, there's a handful of guys above him. I'll give him number 5.
Yeah, I'm going to say trash, but if Justin Jefferson wasn't in the league, I'd say he does have the opportunity in the future to be number 1 because he's a young receiver who he's making Dak Prescott look really, really good right now. He's making him look like an MVP candidate, which he hasn't ever. Dak Prescott has never been an MVP candidate, maybe other than his rookie season, but he's just making Dak Prescott look really good. And the stats don't lie, like you said. I think if it wasn't for Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb could potentially be the number one receiver in the league eventually. But as of right now, I'm going to put him in that 5 to 6 range. I completely agree with you. I think you got to put Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams. You got to put those guys 100% above him. But I think maybe without Justin Jefferson, he would have the potential. But as long as JJ's in the league, you're not going to be ahead of him.
I'm going to say Cash. He's probably the best wide receiver of all time that has ever been and will ever be. No, of course this is trash. Get the hell out of here. I would say he's top 10. Yeah, he was hurt this year. You're going to tell me Cooper Kupp isn't better than him? Devontae Adams, Jefferson, Chase, all those. But then you have guys like Mike Evans. Is he not better? Is Mike Evans not better than Lamb? Because we're getting really into the nitty gritty here. We're gonna say that. Who would you rather have?
You said what did you say his name was? Cedarian Deleon. I think I'll stick with CD.
Yeah, I take Cedarian. Only because of getting injured and all that other stuff.
And I think the consistency. Mike Evans is kind of a roller coaster.
Yeah, Cedarian's always on the field.
He's extremely underrated, and I don't have a list of wide receivers in front of me, but I would say top 10 might be pushing it, but we'll say he's at least top 70. No, I would say he's probably in that 10 to 15 range for me, sarcasm aside. This is my favorite one. The Patriots dynasty was carried by Tom Brady.
I don't know. I'm not a big Tom Brady fan. I know he's the most winning quarterback of all time. I know I'm going to consider him the GOAT, but I don't think he's the most talented. So I don't think the Patriots dynasty was carried by Tom Brady, because the second he left, who else was there to fill in the shoes? Mac Jones, Cam Newton, a washed-up Cam Newton. I don't know. And plus, when he left, you got to think, Gronk left too. Edelman was retired by then, so they had nobody to throw to. So I'm going to say no, the Patriots dynasty was not carried by Tom Brady. Trash.
I'm going to say this is cash. Tom Brady definitely carried the Patriots. He left. He brought Gronk with him. Everybody was there because of him. He can fire a team up. He went to Tampa Bay and proved that he could win even without Belichick. Cash.
I'm gonna say that's trash. I mean, we got Belichick. I mean, he's got to count for something, and he's been pampered with good teams, good defenses, good receivers. You know what I mean? He's been loaded. The teams he's fallen on have been really, really good. Not that he's not good. He's probably the greatest, but no, that's trash.
I'm gonna say that's trash as well. I have a few examples for you. His first Super Bowl win, tight game, field goal win. Second Super Bowl win, low scoring, tight game, field goal win. Every single time they win the Super Bowl, it's in a tight defensive game. We're going to move to Super Bowl 52. Tom Brady throws for a record 505 passing yards, and they lose. The next Super Bowl, one of the worst Super Bowls I've ever seen. What do they win? 13-3 in a defensive struggle, and they win the Super Bowl. They just completely smothered the Rams. I think the problem is Bill Belichick is bad at drafting. He's great at coaching. I think they need to get him off of any personnel decisions and give it to somebody who, has an eye for it at least. It's kind of similar to that dude that was, I'm switching over to baseball, the guy, what the hell was the guy's name that was the Red Sox guy, and then he went to the Cubs and they won the World Series? No, the GM.
Oh, yeah, I can't think of his name. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but I think it's a combination of a dude who takes no nonsense on offense in Tom Brady with dude who takes no nonsense on defense in Bill Belichick. It was a perfect combination. I don't think personally either of them carried, but if I had to pick one, I would say Belichick carried the dynasty because the defense was always good every time they needed it. And to Dare's point with Tampa Bay, the dude walked out. Tampa Bay was a Super Bowl contending team, except they had Jameis Winston to throw 37 interceptions. The dude walked out of New England, which was all their players were leaving, and walked into the best team in the NFL.
And I think a major point to that is Tom Brady always took a pay cut so that he can get the players that he needed to surround him to win a Super Bowl. And I think that's what makes him different from a lot of quarterbacks in our generation. Like even Aaron Rodgers, like he would never take a pay cut until he joined the Jets. When he was on Green Bay, he did not take a pay cut.
Correct.
And then Patrick Mahomes getting a $500 million contract. Then you have like guys like Joe Burrow. You know, they're taking the money, and you can't afford to pay a quarterback $50 million a year and surround them with talent for that long.
100%. And that excellent point, because the 49ers have the most stacked roster that we've seen in a while, because Brock Purdy's making $800,000. So if you get these greedy quarterbacks who are mediocre, you're paying them to be Patrick Mahomes, and they're playing like Justin Fields. It's not a great combination. But cash or trash, the Rams are the biggest threat to San Francisco in the NFC. So I'm just going to throw these stats out here really quick before I pass it to Bran. First meeting in LA, 49ers won 30-23. No Cooper Kupp. This was the Puka Nacua coming out party. 15 snags for $142. And Brock Purdy against a very good, and somehow a Super Bowl defense is underrated, but whatever. He only threw for 206, no touchdowns, no picks. And the final game of the season is LA at San Francisco. But if San Francisco wins, actually, now that they lost to Baltimore, they're going to need both games, so that it doesn't even matter. San Francisco is going to have a first seed to play for unless Philly loses to Arizona.
So I'm going to say cash on this. The Rams have looked really good lately. Like I said earlier, the record with Kyron Williams being in the game, they are 7-3, the Rams are. So if they can stay healthy, that's always been their issue, is they can't stay healthy. With Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams was out for a little bit, Aaron Donald. So I think if they stay healthy, they're going to be a great team. I think they're going to make a deep playoff run, so I'm going to say cash on that.
Although they are really hot right now. After they lose this week, the Rams lose this week, I'm going to say trash, though. I pick Lions preseason, go to the NFC Championship, and I'm sticking with it. Give me Amon-Ra, give me that run game. I'm all over it.
I'm gonna say cash. Rams have been rolling. These wide receivers are fun to watch. Matt Stafford's having a good time out there, so just cash.
I'm going to say trash. The Rams are very good. They're going to have a third matchup, and we know that a third matchup, if you lose the first two in an in-division, it always goes the other way. But I think that Tampa Bay is the biggest threat to San Francisco in the NFC. Their defense is solid. Their offense is the spot to me that San Francisco is weak defensively is in the defensive back, like the D-backs. Defensive line is amazing, but Tampa has a very good offensive line. The linebackers are very good, but Tampa's tight ends aren't their hot spot. So that's why San Francisco always hammers Dallas, because they match up well. But I think Tampa matches up better against San Francisco because of how good those receivers are. So they're going to spread out the field. Mike Evans, as long as Mike Evans stays healthy, Chris Godwin, and Cade Otton, I mean, he's going to have Fred Warner on him, unfortunately, so he's not going to do very much, but he's been solid. So I'm going to say trash, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Joe Flacco and the Browns will make a deep, heavy quotes, you guys can determine what deep means in your eyes, a deep playoff run in 2023.
Cash. I can see him making it past the first round. Now, it depends on what you consider deep. Are we talking about they're going to make it to the AFC Championship? Probably not. But if you'd say getting past the first round is deep and getting in the second round, I would say cash on that.
Cash. I'm going to agree with you, Bran. For sure, they're going to win at least one playoff game.
Makes it.
Making it to the AFC Championship, I doubt it.
I'm going to say trash. Flacco's luck runs out. I mean, their defense is good. I mean, I just don't see them playing with the big boys. They get bounced early. They will make the playoffs, but they're going to get bounced early.
I'm going to say cash. If the playoffs started today, the Browns are at Jacksonville. Who are you taking in that one, right? I'm taking the Browns at this point. And then if they win that, they'll be at Miami, Kansas City, or Baltimore, depending on who else wins. And if they play at Kansas City the second week, then they're going to be in the AFC Championship game. But I'm going to say cash, and I consider it with a third string, fourth string quarterback, I think one playoff win is pretty deep. All right. Cash or trash, Brandon, we'll start with you. The Miami Dolphins receiver duo of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle is the best in the NFL.
I'm going to say trash. Tyreek Hill is probably a top 2. I'm not going to say probably. He is a top 2 receiver in the league, and you could argue for number 1. But Jalen Waddle hasn't made that next year step up that I kind of expected him to. I'm going to go ahead and put the Bengals wide receiver duo ahead of him of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Those few catches that T. Higgins made was it last week, where he jumped up over the corner, caught it, and then as he was falling out of bounds, he reached over the pylon and got it in. He's phenomenal. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the Bengals wide receiver duo is better.
I'm going to say this is cash. Tyreek Hill debated for the MVP. Jalen Waddle is doing pretty good this year. You say he's not, but... And for the Bengals, they're down Joe Burrow. So, I mean, enough said right there. But I'm going to go cash.
I'm going to go cash. Tyreek's just unguardable. Leads the league in most categories. Yeah, definitely cash. I don't even care what Waddle does.
Oh, so Tyreek's carrying your duo. Well, in that case, I'm saying trash, and it's CeeDee Lamb. You don't need anyone else. It could be me and CeeDee Lamb. No, I'm saying trash, and it's Debo and Brandon Ayuk. Debo is the most dynamic receiver in the NFL. Tyreek's the fastest. Is he the best receiver? I don't really think so. Is he the most wide open on almost every play? Yeah, of course. The dude is a freak of nature, but Debo, he doesn't have exactly the stats that you want, but he is the focus of the defense every single play. He's running in the backfield. Darren and I were watching a game, and the dude must be running 100 yards back and forth before every play. And Brandon Ayuk is very solid. Another thing I really enjoy about him is his downfield blocking on Christian McCaffrey runs. I know blocking's boring, but if you ever just watch him, put a little circle around him, the dude blocks like he's freaking George Kittle. Maybe that's contagious because George Kittle is the best blocking tight end in the NFL.
I'm going to piggyback off what you just said. I love the blocking aspect of Brandon Ayuk, and honestly, all of the 49ers receivers. There was that one play, I think it was last week, that CMC started off the game with a 70-yard run, and he took it all the way in Seattle. Yeah, he ran it down to the 3-yard line, and if you see Brandon Ayuk was on the other side of the field, he rushed down 60, 65 yards following Christian McCaffrey and gave him an extra block that got him another 5 yards out of it. So I love that aspect out of Brandon Ayuk's game.
I wish George Kittle would get more targets, and then I might have put him on there as one of the wide receiver duo. But all right, Dare has a special cash or trash.
Down to my question. All right, speaking of duos, cash or trash, Riggs and Murtaugh are the best cop duo on a movie.
In movie history, the best cop
in movie history.
I'm going to say that's cash. I think the dynamic between the two, and this comes from a time when, and we don't do much into the politics thing, but you had a diverse duo before being diverse was like forced into Hollywood, so it's very natural. You got the old guy with the young guy, the dude who's on his way to retirement with the trigger-happy psycho, family man versus a guy who lives with a dog in a trailer on a beach. It is, and the progression, I know some of the Lethal Weapon, I don't like 3. 3's my least favorite, but as the movies go along, they start to get closer in terms of like who they are, closer to each other than they were in the beginning because they're so far apart. When Murtaugh tells him, here, if you're going to kill yourself, and puts the gun in his... Excellent. Fantastic. If you haven't seen Lethal Weapon, go watch them.
Now, I like this question because it's a Christmas movie. I put my hands in quotes, Christmas movie. So it goes along with last week's theme. It's Christmas time. It's during Christmas time, the first one.
I'm going to say trash. I think the Rush Hour duo is on top. Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker are just, the comedic timing with them is just hilarious. So I'm going to say Rush Hour is better.
I'm going to say trash as well. I'm going to go with Axel Foley and Billy Rosewood. Great comedy, great action. I mean, the movie isn't anything without either one of them. You take out Rosewell, you know what I mean? It's a great watch. 3 movies? All 3 movies were just as good. Give me Axel Foley.
I'm gonna say Cash on this, but another one I was thinking about is Bad Boys. Martin Lawrence, Will Smith. You got the Playboy, you got the Family Man, kind of along the same lines. I mean, those are my favorite movies growing up. But I'm gonna stick with Lethal Weapon, Cash.
I got another one as an honorable mention because Dare sprung this on us, so I had to type in the Google memory machine. But the 2 guys from Hot Fuzz, Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg, did you guys see this movie? Now, it's the goofy, like, son of the constable with the overly serious guy from the big city. That is in there, but we're going to say Cash still on Lethal Weapon. Hot Fuzz is fantastic. You have to watch Lethal Weapon. That's got to be on the list. And I don't think it's a Christmas movie.
I think, it's the same idea where it's during Christmas because he goes over their house at Christmas.
It's different, though. Christmas happens during Lethal Weapon. Die Hard happens because of Christmas. That's the difference. Hey, I'm a movie guy. What can I say? Speaking of movies, this is a sports podcast. It's going to be NFL until the season ends, and we're going to move on to baseball. We're going to have to get Dare into baseball somehow. So the idea is a rotation, right? Dare's got a buddy who wants to join. Dave's got a buddy who pretends he wants to join. And we have 2 more brothers and a bunch of nephews and all that stuff who Brand's brother wanted to jump in for once. So maybe we'll do a little rotation, see how it goes. But thanks for joining us. Check out our predictions. Should be up on the channel in a couple days. And then if you haven't checked out our recaps from week 16, that's up too. Thanks for watching.